Yes.
You mentioned the ISDC in May, which is right. Then you said this was added to the partners conferences page. I was not aware that National Space Society had joined the partnership. Or maybe I'm misreading it.
National Space Society. Let me see. Yes, I had an exchange with Michelle Hanlon, that is now the president of National Space Society. And she told me that she would present the possibility to the board to have an agreement with Space Renaissance in order to be partners.
That's wonderful.
Yes, but it is a couple of weeks, and she didn't yet. However, no, I didn't add the logo yet, because I was waiting for Michelle to give me confirmation of that.
Okay.
So far I didn't add it. However,
so there's something in the works. That's wonderful.
Adriano, I had the start time as 9 o'clock Hawaii for this Zoom session. Have you been on for a while?
No, it's because now we have the summertime in Europe. Therefore, now we are 2 hours ahead of UTC.
Oh, so you've been meeting for an hour already?
No.
No. I mean, now it's 19 p.m. UTC time, and it is 21 p.m. in the Central Europe time, because we are now 2 hours ahead. We have the summertime.
Yeah.
You know, that's something that in LA you don't have, I think. Is
No.
that right?
Right.
No. Okay. But in the US they have.
Yes.
And
okay.
the UK.
And in the UK too. So so now UK is 1 hour ahead of UTC.
Yeah.
And normally they have the same time of the Greenwich Mean Time.
Yeah,
in the winter.
It's awkward that America puts their clocks ahead or back on a different date to
yes,
a lot of other
that's
people.
true. That's true. Yes.
Never mind.
However, okay.
We deal with space, we can deal with times.
Yes. However, in the novel by Daniel Suarez that I am reading, the title is Delta V. It's a very, very nice book, and a science fiction book of a not that distant future. They in space they are mining Ryugu, the asteroid Ryugu, and they use UTC time. Therefore, I think UTC will be the space time. However,
yes.
Hi, Kevin.
Hi, how are you doing?
Fine, thank you. Fine, okay, so to say. However, let's go ahead. I had something like an agenda. You cannot minimize Zoom when you're recording this meeting. Why not? Okay. I had something like an agenda, but I have to open it. Just a moment. Okay, I got it. Hi, Corrinne.
Hey, how are you? Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good night, and good evening. I'm not sure our time zones, but I know it's pretty out there. I think we cover everywhere.
Yeah, it's evening in Italy. Here is 9 p.m. and I think it's maybe 2 p.m. in Los Angeles, right, Kevin?
It's noon here, and good afternoon to you, Corrinne.
Okay, and in the UK is 8 p.m. and in Switzerland it's like Italy, so you're 9 p.m. and US, and I don't know, Iowa, what is the central USA time, Irving?
We are at 2 p.m. right now.
2 p.m. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Good. Well, I think. Oh, it's only 5 minutes. Let's wait for other 5 minutes just to see if someone else is jumping in.
While you're waiting, I'm gonna be off camera. I'm gonna spend a couple minutes on. Most of it will be driving. I'll be listening. So probably until I get to my 4 o'clock. So just letting you know ahead. That's my schedule right now.
Okay. Okay. So let's have a look at the agenda while we are waiting. I think we could say something about the possible improvements to Thesis 1 document and the Congress presentation, because this was questioned as well, not only the thesis document, but also the Congress general presentation about the wording, political Congress or not, and so on. Then we have to make the point about the Congress program, the symposia with a few or zero received abstracts. They are not so much the tracks that are still missing abstract, but we have some, and we should take care. Oh,
But
we
the
have
paper's
Stephen.
not, the paper's not due till the end of May, right?
Hi, Stephen. Hello.
Hey there.
Glad to see you.
Sergeant
Nice.
Lake.
And yes, okay, I forgot. We also have to say something about the webinars, because we are talking about adding a webinar now. After simplifying, we are now going to add one. So then we should understand where we are about our Attendify platform and website. We have to talk about sponsorship programs, because we have to do something to implement the 2 sponsorship programs that we have. And to talk about the opening session, because okay, we have a very small session before the keynote speakers, and I wanted just to share something about that and get possibly suggestions and okay, suggestions and comments about that. Okay, just 2 minutes more, then we start. I profit of that to take some water for me.
Hey, Jim.
Hey, Steve, aloha.
Aloha. Yes. How are you?
How's the weather out your way?
It's getting nicer. We're in the spring weather here.
Well,
in the Northeast.
What's the COVID outbreak like in your region?
New York isn't so bad. New Jersey is getting is spiking a little bit. Now it's it's just a race now to get the needles into arms faster than infections are coming around. So even my son just got vaccinated yesterday. So that's good. So they've opened it up to everybody.
Are you talking Pfizer or Moderna or?
We've been getting Pfizer. I got a Pfizer. I got mine with Pfizer. Yeah,
I got Pfizer too. Yeah, I hear that's probably the best.
It's whatever they give me. I was ready to take it.
Same here.
Yeah.
Well, I'm afraid you're talking about the vaccination, I think. I'm afraid in Italy, they're going to give us AstraZeneca to
Yay.
people older than 65. So I'm definitely in because I'm 70 and past. And I'm not quite happy about AstraZeneca because there are so many people injured by it. So
But that hasn't been proven, though.
well, I don't know. In the UK, it was used. It is used massively.
Yes, 30 million people
Yeah.
have received it, and there have been 7 incidents, and they haven't been positively linked to that. I had that and didn't have any side effect whatsoever. Not even a painful arm.
Oh.
I didn't feel nothing at all.
So as Jerry is sharing, this is one of the things I think when we think about just vaccine or just in general, you know, like with any medication, they're rolling out stuff. There are going to be side effects. Some we don't know. Yeah. And some of this, when we're looking at things, we're looking, you know, it's one of the things I learned very early on when, you know, thinking about wanting to be a MD is that, you know, if one person died, it's one person too many, even if 100 billion people have survived. And there are risks that sometimes we don't even know, like even my parents haven't taken their vaccine yet. But part of it is, you know, they want to check, make sure they have medical clearance before they go in. So you can't outweigh it. It's unfortunate for AstraZeneca, what's happening with them. And even in Europe with what's going on, because this could have been, you know, politics aside, which some of it is, it could have been somewhat a little bit more contained in terms of like that race to getting the vaccine. If more people have survived, it's a risk we have to take, but who really wants to take it? You're right. But we don't know in terms of where the data for the other vaccines are as well. None of that is being published.
Yeah,
but as to what I understood, that you know, there's such a mess that is never sure what you think you understand. However, Pfizer and Moderna are RNA messenger, so they don't inject the virus in your body. They put a kind of sentinel, armored sentinel, that will wake up and fight if and when you get infected. AstraZeneca and Johnson & Johnson are traditional vaccines. So they inject the virus, the powered virus in your body. Therefore, you will develop the illness in a reduced part, of course. But I think that's why these two solutions are more dangerous than the messenger RNA, because messenger RNA will not be active until when you are not infected. So you can even never be infected, and the RNA will remain dead, inactive. So I'd prefer to get the RNA than the traditional vaccine. And I'm not happy that they can impose to me, you take this or you don't get the vaccine. I prefer to say, okay, let me choose. But we have a problem, however, that the AstraZeneca only cost 1.5 euros per dose. While the others, Pfizer and Moderna, cost 15 euros each.
Wow.
Dose. Therefore, we can understand why the public institutions are more keen to use the cheaper one than the other one. However, okay, we don't know what will happen. Let's hope that everything will be fine.
Yeah.
So, okay, I think we can start. Did you have a look at the agenda, and should we add any point? Do we have other things? to discuss?
I haven't seen an agenda.
It's in the chat now.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
So in order to go through the first point, I have to retake maybe my last email to the committee. Oh, yeah. Joe is writing to me an email.
Joe
Did
Pelton?
you repost
Yes,
the,
Joe Pelton. I have prepared a PowerPoint presentation for the keynote and we have 4 papers for session 1.3. Please delete me from the paper that lists Ryozo, Ariyoshi, and Jim Crisafulli and me as authors. I will present my paper, then Stefan Friel, then Tanya Masoon and Jim and Ryozo will present. Here we'll try to cover in 50 minutes to their, okay. I have a conflict today, but Jim will be on the call today. Okay, so he will not take part now. Okay, good. No, good. I prefer that Joy was here, but however. So, okay. I will share this thing just to be now what we are talking about. Yes, today we also had another rather long email by Thomas Matula, who was questioning several things that would be worth to discuss also. But I think we can keep on doing via email that part, because Thomas raised several points that are not so simple to be discussed now. Honestly, I'm not prepared to discuss those points that he is raising. So what I wanted to try to to get through. First of all, let's do this meeting as short as possible, because it's hard for me to hold meetings at this time in the evening, because after I'm working all the day at the computer, at this time I'm rather low in energy. Therefore, I will try to be as short as possible. However, okay. We are discussing here about the best arguments to sustain the above campaign. The campaign about promoting the urgent kickoff of civilian space development, to second the pressure and keeping it alive, supporting the effort of the vanguard, SpaceX and other entrepreneurs. We are aware of the risk, but we also know that the risks of an abortion is manifold worse. So I believe that our aim here, when Arthur made his criticism and I tried to respond and others gave their contribution, is to define the best arguments and the best not only the arguments, but also the shape in which we present these arguments to sustain the above campaign, knowing that public opinion is key in order to balance the Thunbergian deadly influence. Legal framework is important too, and maybe in the thesis one, the legal framework, legal aspects are not addressed enough. governmental decisions are important, at least not to hinder the vanguard's effort. I think we all of us have in mind the Rick Tomlinson speech in our webinar about yes, 2 webinars ago about the Earth orbit and cislunar development, when he says that he wouldn't expect that governments make the work in place of the companies and the private market and so on, but at least he said these words: I expect that governments don't hinder this effort. So we cannot maybe hope in favorable policies, but we should ask for the vanguard's effort not to be hindered and obstacled. So, and last but not least, to try to avoid discussing too deeply the points which require to go deeply into philosophical concepts that would require specific dissertations, which are not really necessary to our current task. So what I am talking about could be a too deep dissertation about growth versus the growth versus the growth is to be addressed, I think, but the problems of the pressure, it's hard to be explained because we have okay, for instance, I see it like a physical continuous process, like when you have for instance una caldaia. Oh my God, my English so poor. Just a moment.
Your English is fine, Adriana. Sometimes it doesn't matter. Some words don't translate over the same.
Boiler, okay, a boiler. I wanted to say that I see it as a boiler in which we have temperature, we have pressure, we have some analog measures, and but we also have the commands to regulate, to reach a set point of temperature, to keep a set point of pressure, humidity, and other analog values. So we can open and or close the valves. We can increase the warming or decrease the warming, and so on. If we see the planet as a big boiler where we don't have commands to act on the actuators, so the heating or the warming or the cooling and so on. But however, it works like a boiler in fact. And so if the pressure is going too high before we are able to go outside, because okay, the comparison, it works up to a certain extent and not more, of course. However, if the pressure goes too high before we are really able to expand, to open the system, then we risk an explosion. And if the pressure shut down, if the process shut down, then we risk an abortion. So it's a quite delicate process, physical process that we cannot control, and I'm not sure even if we can, if we are able to measure it. Therefore, it is quite a miracle if it will end positively. However, we have to try to do our best. But what we can do now is just to not stop to promoting the urgent kickoff of opening the frontier. and we have a big positive help in that, and it is the fully reusable vehicle that is in progress of development and testing and so on. And yes, then we have other assets that can be used for this goal, and for sure one is SPS, astroelectricity. But what I would like to do with this document, I know it is not easy, and I don't know if we will succeed or not, and in which measure we can succeed or not. However, is to give a kind of holistic representation of the situation and of the best opportunity, the risks and the opportunities, and how we can mitigate the risks and achieve the opportunities. So,
Adriano, can I break in for a second?
Sure.
I think kind of to sum up the conversation that's been going on through the email about the document, our overall goal is, as you say just now, the opening up of space to civilians, to civilian activity, to civilian settlement. And I think that, to kind of put it in really simplistic terms, in the US, there are people on the left and there are people on the right who all want to do the same thing, but for different reasons. There are extremely religious people who want to do it, and there are absolutely atheist people who want to do it. So there are people on all of the spectrums that are interested in doing this for different reasons. I think that what most of your advisors, our other people have been trying to say in what they're saying in those emails is that the way that you've written those documents is too slanted in one direction or the other. You're making arguments from one position about it that people on the other position who want the same thing that you want, they don't necessarily agree with those arguments. So from what I'm gathering, they believe, and I believe, that it will be better for us to stick to talking about the things that everyone can agree upon. Everyone who still wants those same things that we do. And again, that's people on the left and, conservatives and liberals, highly religious people, atheists, and all groups in between want. You're approaching it from, I guess, a debate point of view. You're taking the side from from maybe a little bit more on the liberal side. We've got global warming. We've got all of these things that we need to avoid. Well, there are people who don't believe in global warming who want to argue with that, but they still do believe in space settlement just for different reasons. And we don't want to alienate any of those people on any of the sides. We want to bring them all into kind of a renaissance. That's kind of the thing that the Renaissance does, is it brings people together who normally wouldn't come together because of their differing political views or their differing religious views. They can come together on this particular thing as long as we don't polarize our presentation of it too much. Does that make sense to you?
Yes. Okay. To be honest, I'm not that a supporter of the climate change as it is promoted and discussed and so on. So I'm not sure. Well, that there is a warming. It's almost evident because ices are melting and so on. What I'm not sure is that humans are a big cause in this process, because we know that the carbon dioxide is a ridiculous greenhouse gas. Methane is very much more important, and water steam is 95% of the cause of the climate, supposed climate warming. However, we cannot not to see that we have extreme climate events and tornadoes and what and floods and all this kind of things. And and so if in my document I tried not to speak about warming or icing or other specific points, but just about climate extreme events that are maybe increasing in number, in frequency, and in devastating power. But if we think that even that in that way, what it is written is too much, then we can mitigate it for sure. It's not that important. For sure, yes, Arthur, please.
I'd like just to put another spin on this subject, and we don't have to take a real position on this totally, but what has happened is United Nations, the European Union, my country has taken a position on it, and they want to have net zero by 2050. Okay, and that means they have, in my opinion, they have no way to achieve this, and therefore we have to accept what they're doing. And this is where I am right at the moment, because I'm dealing with these people and they see the problem. They cannot reach the agreements that their countries and the union and what people are calling for in order to achieve these goals. Okay, and therefore, you know, whether climate goes warm or cold, and I hold both positions at the same time. I'm definitely I'm a fan of what Patrick Collins has written about this the snow melting satellites. Yeah. But actually, I'm in contact with people right now, and this is what's happening. I just want to be clear about why I talk about these political things, because there is a movement right now inside Europe, inside the European Space Agency, to actually find a solution for these countries, the European, the Switzerland, to reach these climate goals, and they don't have a terrestrial solution. And they're actually waking up to space solar power as a way to do that. And there's a small group inside that's very, very dedicated to promoting clean energy from space. And I happen to be involved in this discussion right now, and they don't have enough power themselves yet. They're trying to build inside ESA a consensus that can go forward to the director level and actually launch a mission with this, because this is necessary and needed in order for all of these countries to sign on to fulfill their obligations to the Paris Accords. And this is a very interesting thing, but it's actually a very big opportunity for the space community, because we can provide them part of the solution for this. And the way it works in Europe is we don't have Musk, as you know, around everywhere. It all works how the government puts money into ESA, and the money comes back into the different companies through that. And if you want to do anything in space in Europe, you have to have this kind of acknowledgement, doing it through the normal channels. And that's why I think it's very, very important at the moment that we're very careful how we present our space expansion philosophy or our program, even if it's political, so that we don't jeopardize what is actually happening, which is actually kind of a first, I mean, you know, a new development here, and actually a very important thing that has a lot of potential in Europe and for the world too, because I think the whole world is facing a similar situation. It's not talking about it for whatever reason.
Yeah, yes, I understand your concerns about if you're working with ESA and you, yeah, we had this kind of problems in the past, when our positions in the first years, the space renaissance was very much more critical toward the agencies than what we are now. In 2016, our second Congress, we decided that since new space segment exists and therefore things are changing, it was useless and counter and worse than useless. It was dangerous, damages to go front against agencies, because in the agencies there are many people, many good people, many sincere people that are humanist and want to expand civilization into space and so on. And it is it is not a good thing to be enemies with agencies. So in 2016, we made this kind of reasoning, and we decided to change. So keep on giving our solutions, our proposals, and so on. But however, stop criticizing agencies in such a frontal way. And Patrick Collins was one of the the
He
hardest.
criticizes them a lot.
Yes. So because he never stopped recalling the responsibilities of the agencies in the 50 years delay in moving to space and so on. And his analysis is still true. Is not nothing is changed.
Sure.
However, the thing that is changing is that we don't want to go face to the agencies and say, no, you are guilty for 50 years delay. No, it's useless, and we stopped to do that. However, having said that, we should understand now what is really essential, what is really key for us to write in this document, and what it is not, what it is really key in presenting our Congress and what it is not. So I thought that to start saying this is a political Congress was a hard statement that will make people understand that we are not just here to give a floor to excellent, distinguished scientists and philosophers, but we also want to build a kind of political strategy to help the space renaissance to succeed. So, of course, if we use the term political, people will be curious and go through reading through the document, trying to understand which kind of wing are we for left or for right, or for liberals or for Republicans or other wings. And of course, this is not my aim. I tried, well, since many years in the space renaissance, we don't have any more hard political confrontation, ideological we had years ago, we had many, but this kind of confrontations always led to bad things. People that will shout in insults or leave the association and so on. So at a certain point, we came up with a tentative of a new ideology, a new position that said both the left and right wings are cheating with us because they attract our votes, giving their best ideals, and then when they are sitting at the power, they give us corruption and all what we know that is not good at all, and it's not for that reasons that we have given our votes to them. So we have to start basing upon our humanism. We have to step forward and over. Okay, to say we are not leftists and not rightists is another bad thing, because that it leads to qualunquism, and it's not the point. But saying we are humanist, it becomes clear that our let me say, not political but ideological choice is for humans, not for classes, not for social subjects, this subject before others, or for nationalities and so on. No, we are for humans. And this is the base of astronautic humanism, as of course, is my interpretation and my tentative to go forward with this philosophy. And so I always, when I think about any document, any article, any even small sentence, I always start from what is the interest of humans, human beings, real existing human beings, almost 8 billion people, their rights, their children, their descendants, and so on. So I always try to get in touch, in relation with humans. And it works, because many of the concepts that I pull out from my head of a magician and wizard come from these deep humanist concepts. And so, okay, everything I'm doing, it comes from that.
Okay, that's fine, you know, but we just have to make sure if there are potential allies in the normal
Sure.
system, we should just be careful that we keep them our allies.
Exactly.
And not take a position that scares them away. That's all I'm saying. Okay?
So we can simply avoid using those introduction to the Congress. This is a political Congress. We can use another.
That's minor, but actually is.
No, but okay, it put people on how can I say, on alert. No, now let me see where they are going. Now what is the hidden message that they want to give, and so on. So we can avoid it, and we can rephrase that introduction. Is not my problem, of course. Maybe a little bit more difficult thing, but okay, I forgot to say, I ask for your suggestions here. I don't want to be the writer of everything, of course. And Arthur, be sure that my intention when I published the first incomplete document was to get contributes from everybody. But the fact is that very few people gave me contributions. Therefore, as I felt the urgency to reach a first draft, I said I write it, and then if somebody comes with better pieces, I will replace their pieces to what I wrote. So this was my intention. And some people promised to give a contribution, and they didn't. Some other people gave a contribution but said, no, it's too small, so please don't count me. This is the case of Luigina Ferretti, for instance. She gave me her contribution about the cosmic radiations, but she said, no, it's too small, please. I don't like to figure among the co-authors, because my contribute was that small part. And Jonathan Tate gave me his part about the asteroid defense from asteroidal impulse, and he accepted to be a co-author. So, okay, now, yes, Jerry, please.
Okay, I think I may be in the guilty pack here. Though in my defense, I'll say I have been rather busy, because this thing that you can see up there behind me, I'm actually the organizer of that event. Yes. So I have been rather busy. But what I was thinking of, if we just go back literally to basics and ask, why are we holding the Congress? And there's various reasons for it. We want to spread the word around as much as possible about various aspects of space development. But ultimately, of course, one of the reasons is to get more people aware of, and better still, to join the SRI. And what we need to do, as I see it, what the Congress is aiming to do is to raise the awareness of what mankind needs to do with regards to development in space, and also put forward ideas on how it can be done. Would you regard that as accurate? Anyone? Most of you are muted.
I would agree with most of that. I would say maybe I wouldn't say what the things are that we need to do, but what the things are that are actually happening that appear to be blossoming and growing, that we need to contribute to and to become a part of, and to help blossom and grow even more and even faster.
Right.
And I would just add, you're trying to figure out ways to develop the kinds of public-private partnerships and international alliances that ultimately can reduce the costs, enhance the benefits, and hopefully accelerate timetables for future space missions. So it's
Okay.
bringing the globe together.
Yeah. And Adriano, I can't remember whether anyone from SpaceX is giving a contribution to the program.
Unfortunately, no. We
Okay.
We don't have
The only reason I asked that is because I saw something just yesterday about the costs of launching, and whereas we used to talk about something like $50,000 per kilo. No, I think it was 150,000. Well, whatever. Anyway, SpaceX is currently charging about 25,000, and they expect that to reduce further. And their ultimate aim is to get it down to $1,000 a kilo, which has been touted as the holy grail for decades, even ignoring inflationary adjustments with prices. If they do get down to being able to say we can launch payloads for $1,000 a kilo, they will be absolutely flooded with customers. I mean, heck, I'd be looking at doing something myself, and they'll have to have a very strong way of weighting the proposals in order to pick out the ones that are worth doing. I mean, seriously, if we get anywhere near that level, so much will become possible.
Falcon Heavy, excuse me, just to let me,
yes.
Falcon Heavy is $1,430 per kilo. Falcon Heavy right now, $1,430.
I didn't realize it was quite that low. So that in itself will make so much possible. That's the main thing. Cheap and reliable access to space.
Yes.
Which is what we couldn't do 50 years ago.
I don't know if someone of us already saw it, but today it occurred to me to find another great speech by Jeff Grissom. We referred several times to Jeff Grissom's speech in ISDC 2011. And then in our Congress in 2016, Jeff Grissom gave a contribute talking about what can be done in orbit by humans instead of robots more conveniently when the price for a ticket fall under 1 million per seat. So that was a key point for us in 2016, because we built our strategy for the next years up to now, to this Congress of now. We figure out the civilian space development campaign and the civilian space protocol and all this kind of things, because we went farther. We say that not only cheap access is necessary, but it is also necessary to have technologies to fly civilians, non-trained astronauts. So people that can work, simple workers in space and so on. So we started to write about protecting from the radiations, to have artificial gravity, to have green environments in the habitats and all these kind of things. And so now I found this, okay, I also wrote to Jeff asking him to participate to this Congress, but he replied today that he is overwhelmed by other projects, so he can't. However, I always thought that if a teacher cannot come to me, I will look for his lessons around and something I will find. Therefore, today I was lucky and I found his speech at 2017 ISDC. That's a wonderful speech on YouTube. I posted on Facebook, on the main group of Facebook, and also sent a newsletter to our Google group. So I didn't plan to make this thing today in the afternoon because I had a lot of other things to do, but this was so fine that I couldn't avoid to do it. In this speech, Jeff goes farther ahead. By the way, he also talked about protection from radiation that he thinks is one of the very, very urgent and needed points. And he makes a proposal. He said, we need a laboratory in L1 outside of the magnetic influence of Earth. But the most interesting thing is that he tried to sketch a strategy for the settlement, because maybe you remember in 2011 when he put that slide saying we have exploration, we have settlement, and in the middle, question mark. So with this slide, he wanted to represent the void of strategy by NASA. And so he went in this video, he is going farther on this line, and he tried to sketch up a strategy. He take as an example the Second World War, when America said we have a goal that is Japan and Germany to be to surrender without condition. This was the goal. Then USA made a strategy that was to go through the islands, to conquer islands in Pacific, to arrive near the Japan, and to bring their attacks from that position. And with this strategy, they succeeded. And the same from Europe and so on. So I say what we need is a strategy, some goals, and and tactics. So and he put this thing in place. He say we have to go. Okay, he says also many other things, that NASA should change how it works and start from the very beginning to design systems for commercial and not for governmental use. So this is something that has to do with the user requirements that should be completely different. It's something that I also was thinking about when I make a graduation of the change and evolution of user requirements from exploration to space tourism to space settlement, with several intermediate degrees. And however, okay, so the essential that he says is that we have to NASA, because he is thinking about the US policy, of course, and not the world policy. Think about the US policy. He said the agency should establish the goal to say, for instance, we have to build something in Earth orbit that will remain when we go behind, and not be simply replaced, because it says now we are thinking about making a space station in the in the moon orbit, and we will dismiss the Earth orbit space station. This is not good. We have to build infrastructure and go ahead, but the infrastructure should grow, continue to be to exist and be taken over by the privates and so on. So he said we have to establish goals to go there, to build infrastructure that can remain because it's mainly made by commercial and privates, and to go to the moon. Same thing, then to go to Deimos and Phobos, and to go to the near Earth asteroids, and in each point that we arrive, to build something that will remain. This is a strategy, not to go around and planting flags just because we are fine and we have to plant flags. So it's a very good speech that from which we have I think we have to learn, still have to learn something. And okay, so coming back to what I was saying before, we should try to give an holistic vision of the strategy, because one of the symposia, one of the tracks we have is to draft a reasonable agenda for the space settlement. This is a track that is chaired by Rioso and by Bernard Foing, but the two of them are so far didn't, I don't know if they invited someone or not, or if they are working to the track or not, I know nothing. However, I think that is one of the most important tracks that we have, and we should not allow it to fail, to be without any papers, any participant. So thinking about the SPS, I believe we shouldn't give the idea that SPS is a separate program, and it is not an asset in a general strategy of expansion. So in my opinion, we should write that part on the energy dilemma, or in another form. I don't know if we can refer to the space option work or not, if that is not compromising for the Arthur work, or we can put it in a way that is not compromising. I think it can be possible to do it, because well, I hope so. I don't know. However, the point is that I love the analysis that all the terrestrial alternatives are not good for the goal. And I would say, if we wanted to extend this reasoning, neither the SPS would be enough for the goal if it remain alone, without expansion, without civilian space development, because it will not develop. Simply, it will not have money to go ahead, because a civilization will have bigger and bigger problems if we will not have a space development. If we have space development, everything will be possible, including SPS. And SPS can help the space development, but it should not be seen or mainly to feed Earth. This is what I wanted to try to say, and of course in a way that will not scare our your ESA customers.
Okay. Well, I mean, they have a goal that they have to reach, and European has set the goal, and so is the United Nations. So all of the countries around the world are scrambling to figure out how to meet the goal, because they can't do it with terrestrial resources.
Sorry. This is Corrinne. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I'm trying to unmute because I have my hand up and I'm driving and someone's trying to cross the road. They're doing road work and there's a traffic light. So you don't do all those things
when you're whatever. So, and I'm actually late for my appointment. I just wanted to just jump in really quickly and just share, there's a couple of things. I think Jerry, Kevin, and Arthur had spoken, and they made some really good, valid points. So has Adriano, but I think we had this discussion a long time ago, and every track is going to be based on what each person wants to bring, and therefore whomever is interested in and attracted to those are the content that we're going to be talking about. And Adriano, whatever it is that you want to report, you want to write, again, this is where copy editing comes into play, because someone can edit in terms of the tone of what it is. Just remember, first and foremost, no matter what this is, we're looking for, and I think it's, is it Arthur was just chatting just now,
Yes.
sharing? And he was mentioning about the UN goals and all these things that, everyone's buying in to reach. You have to make this entire thing attractive to students who are coming out, parents who are looking for what's the next new thing for them, and also in terms of career. We don't have to we have sessions where you can hit some very heavy, deep topics. A call, I love the question where, maybe what is next or where we're going. And the other aspect of, I'm not sure who had talked about it, the human aspect and creating this, this, whatever it is, it may be, what do you say? A piece of legislation or something, but that's a work in progress, and it's not going to happen overnight. So you will build the folks who are interested in being a part of that team to compile that, because that becomes research that one will have to do. So let's not, drag out for your agenda items when a lot of the things have been established, but just really focusing on what we want to achieve. You're not going to achieve things based on it being too heavy. Everything, no matter how technical we each are, still boils down to we have a population that we still have to deal with, and everything has to be, does it make sense to a fifth grader? Bottom line.
Okay, how can we go ahead? I know that it is a big document. It's 37 pages. But if each one having criticism could take the document and put his comment in, or simply say this part should be dropped because it's too deep, it's too complicated, it's too requires too much discussion, so let's drop it.
I think you have that already, Adriana. It's really asking folks now if people had given I was reading the back and forth of the comments in terms of where their concerns are. So it's if they're available to look at what it is and give you that additional feedback. But I think ultimately your draft then becomes, even when they give you that feedback, it will have to go to someone who's a good copy editor, who's willing to review and then make this something that it's readable, it's attractive. Yeah. So the pieces that you don't get people volunteering for, you have to just take it out. You're just gonna have to.
I wouldn't do that.
You can do it another time. This is what it also. Passion, when I was doing my PhD, one of the first things that they hit us with, well, it wasn't one of the first thing, one of the first thing was about creativity and being able to be like a child again and dream and so on. The other piece when we're getting to write or do our thesis was they told us, list your top 10 things, and then you go to your top 5, and your top 3 is what, between the top 3 and top 5 is what you will work with, and not number 1. So while you're working to achieve number 1, you have to get the tangible things that are doable. You can still work with the other pieces because now you have another document that you can continue working with, and then it creates less work, less time, and you can do that in a timely manner and get the best results.
Okay, Corrinne, what you're basically saying is the document has to be accessible. It's got to be readable, and people don't want to be faced with it and thinking, I cannot get through this. Adriano, that it isn't a single block of text. There's lots of different sections to it, aren't there? So I can't remember how it's structured, but if each section has a maximum one-page summary, then if necessary, people could look at the summary for each section and they can go down into the detail in that section if they want to. Does that make sense? Or is it not feasible for what you're aiming at?
No, it is a good suggestion. In fact, what I made recently, what I am not sharing, just a moment.
Okay.
Where am I? God.
Whilst you're doing that, I'll just make the point that Steve has been very modest in
Okay.
not mentioning that he is also one of the chairs on that track that you mentioned.
What I have made the last time before this discussion was to give emphasis to put in bold blue some parts that, in my opinion, could be abstract to make small newsletters in order to say, this is written in our thesis. Do you like it, to our audience? And inviting people to read it, of course, to have a deeper look inside and so on.
Yeah.
So I think these are the main parts that I underlined, but okay, it's not enough, but however, yes.
Yeah.
Maybe I could try to do that thing that you say now, to make a small abstracts of each part. So we have the greatest opportunity and the greatest risks. The first part is the big risk.
Okay.
Cosmic threats and so on. So maybe this thing, okay, can be done to make an abstract of each part. But okay, I could also myself go through the paper, considering your comments that you made now and also in writing, and try to edit myself. But I maintain that the best thing would be maybe what Corrinne says, that an editor goes through the document and make an editing. Or each one of us focus on the parts that she thinks most interesting for each one.
Yeah.
And try to comment it.
Yeah, and in doing that, we should each contact you first and say, I'm going to look at section 3 or something, so that you don't, I mean, you know, you can, of course, have more than one person looking at the same section, but they should be in touch with each other whilst doing that, so that work isn't duplicated.
Yeah. Okay, considering I took the word source, because in the word source we have the object oriented summary. So you see, we have two main parts: global civilization risk during next 10 years, and the greatest opportunity expanding civilization into space. Then if we go inside the global risk, we have the risk created by the tremendous conjunction of the multi-crisis, the risk of big cultural damages in the philosophical cage of the closed world, the risk of uncontrolled pollution, the risk of progressive decrease of freedom, democracy, and ethics, the cosmic threats, the great success of our species and its growth in a closed environment, anti-humanist ideological misconception, the energy dilemma, and the risk of civilization implosion. Then, in the great opportunities, the main stakeholders requirements, adding the social assessment criteria to the civilization evolutionary scale. This point is very important to me because I am trying to add, after Nikolai Kardashev, Bob Zabrin, and Carl Sagan, I am trying to add our point, that is 100% social inclusion of a type 2 civilization, something that is not possible in a type 1 civilization. So I don't know if this part, okay, we should read about this part, having in mind the Arthur concerns. Asking, is there something that can create enemies that we don't need and we don't want? Okay, we know that we cannot claim that to get 100% support on our positions, of course, but of course we neither want to make unnecessary enemies. So I mean, some enemies will be. Yes.
I think that what we want in terms of bringing all the people together into the space renaissance is 100% support of our goals and aspirations. You know, if it were me, the quick and easy edits, the things that I would do is that I would just remove that whole section you just talked about all of the risks to the planet, the risk of social upheaval, the risk of this, the risks of that. All of that is good, and I think you should publish that in this document the way you want to publish it, but I don't think it should be part of the thesis of the Congress that we're going to publish to try to bring more people into the Congress. I don't think we need to scare them with the risk or let them, you know, feel our own fears for the risk. I think we need to show them the benefits, the positives, the things that they already agree with, and the things that all of us agree with in terms of the positive things about the space renaissance, about new space, about what we're all working toward, not the reasons that we're all working towards it, because everyone is working towards it for different reasons. And I think stressing the reasons that are the most important to you isn't the way to go in this document. I realize that it's very important to you, and I think that you should publish that in some form or fashion, but I don't think it should be part of this particular document. That's just the thesis of the Congress. It's what we're basically using to rally people to the space renaissance.
I agree wholeheartedly with you, Kevin. I think part of it, this is not discrediting your work, Adriano. All of this is important, and everything we do, no matter what types of business or new ventures we're going in, there are enemies and so on. And I think while this is a part of it, we have to change we have to change this so that what we want to do is make this of more interest to others, so we can get them in and we can talk and go through the different aspect of where this is. And that's how the organization will grow. That's how organization will want to partner with different things, whether it's on the soft side of it or the very hard technical aspect of whether it's infrastructure sorts of stuff. So just be mindful of, it's your writing. And even when we go through and we do some editing, you can do this in pieces. And, I agree with what Kevin just shared. I'm going to have to jump off. So I'll look at emails when I see them and so on. If there's anything that I need to be mindful of that I'm behind on, just keep me in the loop and I'll try and check. I think we have to start working on an agenda and how that looks like. And this just seems, I just did an energy conference as part of a planning committee, and it was virtual and we pulled it off. And I think again, it goes back to topics and how and what we're trying to achieve and making these things manageable and not overwhelming. Adriana, you love to write. You write more than I can even imagine. And that's one of your passions. But we have to sometimes censor that in terms of less sometimes is indeed more.
Yes, however, okay. So Kevin, you are proposing to just drop the civilization risk part. Have I understood correctly?
Well, I was kind of saying that generally as as my hammer way of making my point, which is that, yes, I think we need to minimize those parts. I don't know that we need to not mention any of it at all, but
Because no, what? Yes, okay. What I was going to say. Do you think? No, I am okay. I am kind of extremizing the position now, just to understand. Do you think if we present to the world saying, okay, we are in a critical situation, but never mind, we tell you how good it will be the expanding to space, and don't worry about pandemics, about climate change, about unemployment, about resource wars, and all these kind of things. They will be easily overcome, and so on. We will not be credible. I think I believe. Okay, we don't have to look for catastrophic, but I think people is not scared by our lucid analysis of the situation. People now is scared by COVID-19, is scared by the things that are going ahead. And I think anyone today that will come up giving a narration similar to what it could be 2 years ago, I will say, really? Are you saying that today, with some millions? I don't know how many millions already dead for COVID, but they are dying continuously each day.
I don't think I'm saying that we need to say that those things don't matter or that they aren't important. Those things impact people in a lot of different ways. For example, I woke up a couple of months ago and the sky outside of my house was orange, literally. It did not look like I lived on planet Earth. I was devastated, and so was everyone in the Bay Area. It was an absolute wake-up call. And when I say the sky was orange, I mean literally the sky was orange and brown, and it was not blue at all. It was like you were on a totally different planet. And I think everybody in the San Francisco Bay Area and this part of Northern California truly had a wake-up call that day, that things can go catastrophically wrong in an instant, overnight, literally overnight. So I don't think that we can minimize those situations. Everybody is aware of those situations. Everybody has had, not everybody, but a lot of folks in different parts of the world have had personal experiences with things that have brought those types of images, those types of situations, to life, to reality for them. When the Twin Towers fell in New York and people were running down the streets looking at that, it's like you're looking at an apocalypse movie or an invasion movie or something. Buildings are falling, people are running. It's the worst scenario that people can imagine, but people in New York have had that experience. People in Europe, we're a generation away now from the people in Europe who experienced the devastation of World War II. But their children remember that, they remember what their parents felt, what their parents expressed to them. People in Japan and people in Asia in general remember the atrocity that America committed in dropping atomic bombs unnecessarily on Japan to bring a fast ending to World War II. and the hypocrisy that we're the one nation that says we can never do that again, but nobody else can ever do that again. It should have never happened in the first place. But we all have within us the knowledge of all of those things. What I'm saying for space renaissance is that a renaissance is a positive thing. It isn't a way of looking at all of the risk, at all of the things that we're trying to overcome, at all of the bad things that are happening and what we need to do in order to get out of them. It's a way of looking at all of the things that are blossoming, that are happening in spite of those things that are going on, and that are, yes, going to have a positive effect on those things all the way around. But you don't have to look at those things in the context of what's deep down in the earth, of the fear of all of that other stuff. I'm just saying that all of that doesn't have to be half
Okay.
of our success.
I got it, Kevin. Yeah, there are several that want to talk. However, I believe if you have in mind, maybe you are saying the style of the document. Okay, the document is too big and the style is not good. We have to be not depressive in our presentation. We have to not ignore the risks and to talk about the risks, but in a way that give more importance to the opportunities. So I try to summarize what you are saying, Kevin. And it would be wonderful if you would like to take this document and okay, or make your comments or make your changes, or do you think you can make this effort? That will be wonderful if you can, because I know that you have, I'm feeling that you have for Space Renaissance, how can I say, a good intention, a good approach to how to make it grow up and so on. Therefore, it would be excellent if you can, I don't know, maybe presenting your alternative thesis, that I would be very happy if it would be voted by the Congress, or change the one that I prepared, putting in a better shape, maybe a little bit lighter and easy to go through, and putting in more emphasis on the opportunities and the good things of the expansion and of the Renaissance. That would be wonderful. Of course, okay, I write with my own style and my own capabilities, maybe even with a certain degree of depression, because you know what, after 1 year and more that we are closed in our home, this has a psychological effect too, and it is having an effect on my my style of writing too. So it would be wonderful if somebody else would put a hand in this document, or make another document. Why not? Because now we have discussed the concepts. We know what we want to say. Maybe it could be said with other words, in another style, another way. I don't know. I'm not okay. I'm not pulling myself out. Of course, this is not my aim. I will keep on working, and if you simply send me your written comments or parts to be replaced in the document, I will work on that. We'll be happy to do it. But we have also other possibilities, that someone else to write the document. Why not? Maybe a smaller one, just 10 pages with the main points. Don't know.
Well, the document as you have it now will exist and will always be there, but I will endeavor over the next couple of weeks to kind of go through and create an edit of that document, and then, you know, present that for you to look at. It's not something that I can do quickly, but over a couple of weeks, I should be able to get something that you can then take a look at, that we can all look at, and you know, if you feel like it's weakened too much, then, you know, we can strengthen it up a little bit again, or, you know, if you feel like it is going too much to the lowest common denominator, you know, then we can add more to it. But I will make the attempt over the next couple of weeks to do that, so that you have something to look at that
Okay.
expresses it.
Okay, fine.
And I understand what you were saying about COVID. You know, between COVID and that Orange Day, I realized that I said that was a couple of months ago, but that was before COVID. That was like a couple of years ago, or more than a year ago. And I guess that's how impactful that was, and how impactful COVID is, that those things seem so close in the past to me. It seems like yesterday, even though it's been more than a year since we had those orange skies here in the Bay Area.
Kevin, I'd be interested in working with you on that. What I'd like to say is, essentially, that document as it stands is section 1. These are all the bad things that can happen. Section 2 is, here's a way out that will help us. And I agree with what Corrinne said, which is that I also feel that the section on all the risks that we're facing and the threats is it is very, very strong. And yet, I mentioned in the chat the Club of Rome with their booklet that Limits to Growth. And they said, we're going to run out of oil, we're going to have super pollution, we're going to have this, that, and the other. And they're wrong. Yeah. And the reason that they're wrong is, first of all, because they didn't consider resources from off the earth at all, which was their biggest mistake. But also, even just using what we have on earth, they were wrong. We're not going to run out of oil by 2050. Why? Because we're changing the way we do things. And that has been the pattern of things for well over 100 years. And the example I love to quote is the report that said by about 1910, it will be impossible to travel around London because the streets will be 2 feet deep with horse manure. And of course that never happened, because the number of horses on the streets of London started reducing as we used a different thing to move around. We got motor cars. And I think with a number of things, that by saying, oh, no, we're going to suffer from this or that or the other, doesn't take into account that we're not going to keep doing things the same way. And all of those predictions were basically, if we go on the way we are, then this will happen. Well, it starts off with if, and we don't. We do other things. So I wouldn't say remove section 1 completely at all. We do need to be made aware that there are various potential crises that we face. And but I don't really think that we need to push them hard and go into a lot of detail about them. We should be made aware of them. Everyone should be aware. But the main thing should be that whatever the crises are, we can probably get around them, bypass them, or completely do away with them by doing something else. And that after all, isn't that the main thrust of the Congress, to show what humanity can do to develop, survive, progress, and so on.
100% I agree with you. I think that's the thing, is to always look and lead with that it can happen with anything, and we have any number of possibility. When we thought the world was going to shut down 1999, all this sort of stuff is, and remember, marketing is behind all of this. If I have the money and I can push a certain narrative, then I can put all the people that I need. We're all researchers here, or have some level of research in our background to be able to work on things to say this. You can prove and disprove anything, but the ultimate part is to show that there are options, there are risks, and you don't ever want to not talk about the risks, because as Adriana said before, we will not be taken seriously, because in everything there are risks, day-to-day risks.
Yeah. So Adriana, I would say, let's keep the list of the risks by all means. But perhaps increase the focus on what is now Section 2 by making that risk list part of an introduction to it. So you say, hello, and have you thought about these things that might happen? But the real focus of the document would then be what can be done in the future.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
In 1995, I put an editorial in Space News, and it was called "Choosing a Space Age or a Stone Age."
Yeah.
And actually, I think what we're at right now, we're at the threshold of a space age, but we have to choose to do it. And actually, I'm hosting a webinar next Thursday called "We Choose to Go to the Moon," taking Kennedy's famous speech, and it's about ethics, but it's also has this undertone of choosing a space age over a stone age. And we're aware of it. It's a very kind of clear choice in where humanity is, and it has to make this cosmic choice. And I've said in my other writings over the years, other civilizations in other places in the galaxy were faced with the same situation that humanity's faced right now. You've created a technological civilization, and you've got all of that stuff going, and you have the possibility to use that technology to become a spacefaring species, but you might not do it. And like Heinlein said, space age is a sign, how do I paraphrase that? The space travel is a sign of a dying race. Some species make it and some don't, and that's what we have to do. This is exactly the moment that humanity is in right now. We have to make that decision to become a spacefaring species, and that entails a lot of stuff, Well,
the other great quote is, all civilizations become spacefaring or extinct.
Okay, that's another.
Yes, I think this is the key point. This is the key concept. Do we all agree that this Congress should put evidence on this big responsibility that we have during next 10 years? Because after this period, as Greg Mariniak said in his interview that we made some months ago, the launch window could close. And if it closes, I'm afraid, seeing it from a social point of view, that it will close forever. Because while during the past ages, people was working toward the progress because they hoped in the progress. And now people will be oriented in the other direction, against the progress, because they will see the progress as the evil. So they will go towards superstition and all these kind of things. And science will...
Adriano, I think we should leave this agenda item while we're ahead. You have something that you haven't had before, which is two people who have agreed to get together and go through and edit the whole thing, taking everybody's comments into consideration, and in such a way that includes,
however,
and the minuses. I don't think we're going to get any better.
Okay, Kevin. After this event next Thursday, what time is it going to be?
It's 6 o'clock Central European time. I think that would be
brilliant.
5 o'clock your time.
Yeah. Oh, I'd love to.
We have Dr. James Schwartz and Dr. Marco Bernasconi talking about ethics.
Okay.
Oh, that's great. Thanks for noticing. I think we also put it in the partners conferences on the website.
Okay, fine, perfect. This is organized by the Moon Village Association.
Is from the Moon Village, this thing?
Yes,
Oh, great. Okay.
from my committee.
Excellent. So
So we
we
got that. Jerry and I will be the editors right now, and
excellent.
and
So
work on that for the next
okay,
couple of weeks.
we can try to go ahead quickly to the end of this meeting because we already are 1 hour and a half. And okay, so just a moment, I will share the program just to see which are the low attended tracks. Congress program. Okay. Okay, I thought about that before. We have this first small session, opening session, inaugural address. In the first time, I thought just myself and Manuel Perez to talk here for 5 minutes each to give a greeting to the Congress. Manuel Perez in his vest of a vice president. But I thought that it could be interesting to give other just 10 minutes to this session, holding a small addresses by Jerry and Kevin to pronounce their inaugural greetings to the Congress and to invite people to join us and to follow the Congress and so on. So we will have a small session here with myself, Manuel Perez, Kevin, and Jerry. If you agree, I will add this thing tomorrow to the program. Then okay, then we will have.
I think you should add myself as well, Adriano. You don't have too many females on there, so you should probably include me at one of the opening part of it.
I will be happy. I will be happy of that. I'm sorry, sorry, Corina. Yes, great. Okay, just let me. Fine. Okay, then we have the immense social benefits of expanding civilization into outer space, chaired by Bernard. And we have one only paper for this session. It is from an Indian guy from India, Babu Sambana. And it is the detection of intelligent extraterrestrial life using artificial intelligence. Well, now the deadline was extended to April 15. So we should see what we have to do with this track, and also to the second one, civilization risk mitigation, space domain night against apocalypse multi-crisis, chaired by Thomas Matula. I don't know, we will have to take a decision maybe to make one only of the two or something like that. We will decide next week after the conclusion of the call for papers. Then the global collaboration with the chair, Joe Pelton. I think these are the papers that we have. That's fine. This is a panel, a very good panel. Then space safety. Susan Jewell promised that she and her colleagues will upload several abstracts on this track that is quite important too, because space safety includes the protection of life and health and so on. Okay, we hope that they will do it. However, we will have to take a decision next week. Maybe we also in this case we can put together Space Safety with Enabling Civilian Space Development Technologies, chaired by Stephen. We have one only paper so far by Kevin, Getting People into Space. But Stephen, that is here with us, said several times that they are they are going to upload their abstracts from the Beyond Earth Institute and colleagues.
Yeah, I could give you a quick update on that. I sent you an alternate title and sort of an outline of how we would proceed. And I've lined up three of our colleagues, and I think it's going to be a good program. You initially reacted positively to that, so I'm assuming you're still good with the changes that I was recommending for that.
Sorry. Maybe I forgot the title. I'm sorry for that.
Let me just share it with you real quick.
Can you tell it again? Can you tell me it again? I will put it here in the action items, and we'll do it tomorrow for sure.
Yeah. So the title, and I'll send it to you. I'll send it to you again. What we'd like to do is refocus this a little bit and with the title "Policies to Enable Communities Beyond Earth: Technologies, Financing, and Common Law." So we want to divide this policy. What are the policies that relate to or help us get to communities beyond Earth for space settlement? And we're looking at these, really looking at the three pillars being the technology, the financing, or how do you pay for it, and then the governance structure.
Okay.
And then we have I've identified three folks to speak to those topics, and then we would wrap up with a discussion.
So you are giving to me the titles of the three papers, right?
Yes. Although let me see here.
But you didn't mean to change the title of the track, enabling civilian space development, technology, financing, and funding.
Oh, I thought that we could change the track. That kind of was my recommendation.
Okay. So just please, I'm sorry for that. Just send me what you like, an email or WhatsApp or what you prefer. So I will.
You let me know. But your initial reaction was, this was great, or maybe.
Oh no! Okay. But listen, I just told. Yes, I remember that email, and I can also find it back.
No, I'll resend it. I'll resend it because I've actually put names in here, so you'll be able to see who.
I thought it was. It was just a memorandum. That it was not a. How can I say something to change in the program? No.
Steve, I have to say that sounds very interesting. Having led the space project at the BIS, updating the Island 1 design, and did you? Looking at the Mars and Beyond symposium that we had, the webinar that we had a few weeks ago.
I wish I did. If there's a link,
that's okay.
It sounds like something I'd love. Did you record it?
Gave a presentation on our proposal for what we call Island 0, which I'm doing in the track following this one. And that could also come under the general heading of enabling the development in space. But
right, and
I also
when you say Island 0, I assume you're talking in terms of a precursor to Island 1 of some
exactly
sort.
Okay. A small scale, low cost structure which would allow Island 1 and other things to actually be constructed. And I also
Are you talking about like a test bed, like a something that's meant to prove technology?
I'll send you a summary file on it.
I'd be very interested, actually.
A couple of pages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're looking for, the Beyond Earth Institute is looking for concrete doable proposals that either NASA or other space agencies could adopt, and then we would, recommend. We'd like to, we as a policy organization, we're looking to recommend programs and initiatives that governments can undertake.
Well, the nice thing about this is that it should be low cost and carried out with existing technology. Mm-hmm. But it'll produce a small habitat, mm-hmm. which will allow the use of simulated gravity, which we've never done before.
Very important. Yes.
This be like a prototype for Island 1?
No, it's not nearly on that kind of scale. I've referred to it as porter cabins in space.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel like I saw it in a presentation. I was thinking, didn't you refer to it as like the construction shack?
Yes, exactly that.
Yeah.
And one reason we want it to rotate is because we know that it's not good for people to be continually weightless for long periods of time. Mm-hmm. Anyway, as I said, I'll send you.
Thanks, Jerry. Nice to meet you. We should definitely.
I mean,
connect.
I've known you for a long time, but we haven't actually properly connected until now.
Yes.
I'm
but Adriano, I know.
Sorry, guys.
I know you're trying to finish up.
Is this one? Yeah, right. Is this one the track you sent to me?
We only see your
policies to enable communities.
Oh, you haven't switched files, Adriano. Or wait, are you
your File Explorer or your?
Wait, who?
Oh, I'm not sharing it. Maybe. Sorry, because I'm sharing only the window, but not. Okay, just a moment. Try again.
Oh, I think.
Okay. Now you see it?
Yes, that's it. Yes, that's it.
This. Okay, so this is meant to be the title.
That's the track. That's ideally the track title again.
The track. Okay.
I gave that to you as a recommendation. Obviously, I want to honor, the structure in which you've invited me to work on. But this is certainly, you see here 3 parts. There's the technology gaps, the finance modeling, and the governance rules. And so, anyway, it's just an exploration of all these pillars, as I like to call them.
No, that's fine. So I didn't understand that this was the proposed title, and this is my fault. Sorry. And I was waiting for each of these 3 things to be an abstract by the presenters.
Yeah.
So will they upload an abstract for each?
Well, yeah. I mean, and I guess that's a question, right? So you're saying that you would like to have use the abstract form for each one of these areas, and
it's better because we will also have the bios of each presenter.
Yeah. Okay, that's fine.
And also their registration to the Congress.
Okay.
So
that's fair.
Even you have a paper, yourself. You think you will present a paper too?
Well, I would do some. I certainly would serve as the chair. I would do a paper, or maybe a more summary type of or an overview type paper, and then these folks would drill down, and then we would follow up with a discussion.
For sure, I will put this title to the track tomorrow. This is the first thing I will do. I'm sorry for that. Okay. So going ahead, we have the moon and cislunar development, pretty good with several presentations. We just are missing Michel, that is the chair, together with Jerry of this part. Then we have the space-based solar power with Patrick Collins, James Sneed, Age of Astroelectricity. James Sneed is a guy that we were in touch for the Civilian Space Protocol project. Then Arthur, we present these two papers, Switzerland and Astrostrom, Startup Nation, and the Space Option Star. Then we will have Green in the Solar System with Howard Bloom and Bart Womack. Giorgia Pontetti of Ferrari Farm with her hydroponic gardening. Howard Bloom, Garden the Solar System, Garden Galaxy. Enrico Feoli is an Italian professor, researcher in the University of Trieste. He will discuss a very interesting topic, creating new plants adapted to extreme environments for new ecological niches in space. And we will also have another paper by Alessandro Sciaraffa and Emanuele Pensavalle that is a artistic and scientific project, because the title is A Flower for Mars. And they are working with Alenia in Torino to possibility to select a vegetable that could grow on the Mars atmosphere. So this is quite interesting thing to do, and they have a project, and they will present in this track. Then we have the Mars asteroid belt and beyond, and here we have an issue because the chair is still Sean Moss, but he withdrawn because of his health issues. I know it's true because he also withdrawn from the Facebook group he created, and he was asking for someone else to make administration of that. So I knew Sean had the issues out, and probably is having a another session of his illness. However, okay. So we have to replace him, and Jerry today offered to do it. So today we will put Jerry here. I also don't know if Sean will be able to present his paper. It will be quite a pity, because his presentation in the webinar a couple of weeks ago was really great. Then we have two presentations by Bruce Mackenzie, and hopefully someone else that will upload some papers before next week. Then we have. Sorry.
Is there a video of Sean's presentation, or I can't remember if this one is different from what he did in the Mars webinar?
Space Beyond the Moon. Yes. I don't know if it was meant to be different or the same thing. Before in the webinar, he presented about Mars and other celestial bodies in the Jupiter moons and beyond. So honestly, I don't know. Could be something that we can ask him.
It will be a shame to lose him on this.
Yeah, it's a sad thing, but okay. Then a conceptual timetable for the founding steps of space settlement, chaired by Rioso and Bernard, and Stephen said he was interested to this track, so I added him as a co-chair. And we should understand what Bernard and Rioso are doing if they are doing something. So I would suggest maybe Stephen to talk with the two of them and to see if they want to do something. And
I think Stephen
maybe
has now left us. He had to go.
oh, Stephen left.
Yeah, just a minute ago.
Okay, okay. Good. Good, so to say. Okay, then we have the tourism, living, sport, art and culture, and shape, science fiction, futurology, parenthesis, narration, chaired by Patrick, Collins, and Jerry. So Jerry, you're having a lot of things to do. Oh my God.
Well, for goodness sake, you know, I need to keep myself busy.
Okay. Okay, we have 4 presentations here. This is Japanese guy, is a colleague of Patrick, then Patrick himself, and Sam Coniglio, and Bruce Mackenzie. Then, okay, the thesis, we had an abstract presentation in the thesis track by Charles Ostman, at the intersection of an evolutionary singularity, space migration, and intelligent panspermia. I think this is a deep philosophical paper. Maybe it would. Well, okay, he wanted to put there and put it there, and then it's okay. Honestly, I did anything so far about the thesis 2, strategy to develop the space renaissance, and yes, maybe here it would be great to have contributions, maybe by Kevin, Jerry, and Stephen, and whoever wants to say to add something about our strategy for next 5 years. That is, okay, similar to the positive part of the thesis 1 document, but it is while the opportunities part of the thesis 1 document is related to the civilization in itself and to the space community and so on, this part is related to our association, to Space Renaissance. What will be our programs, priorities, key concepts, and so on. Okay, so this is the situation of the program.
Okay, and on that section, is it 2024 or 2025? Because the title says one thing and the first paper says another.
Sorry. No.
Sorry, that's my good friend, Dr. Nitpicker.
Oh, yes, you're right. It's wrong. Wrong. Just a moment. Good. Oh, my God. So the program is not that bad. I think it's good. We just have to understand what to do with some tracks, maybe to assembly 2 in 1 in some cases, and yes, definitely we should have something in this track, because in my opinion this is one of the most important tracks of the Congress. Conceptual timetable for the funding
timetable, yes.
Okay, we will see. Then by the way, I added a paper of mine, Profitable Industrial Activities to Develop in Earth Orbit.
Yes.
2.3, because I think this is also very important. And I had hoped that somebody will write on this part, but okay, if no one else, I will do it. Okay, I think, what about Attendify? I think Kevin was Okay.
Yeah, sorry, I was looking at the chat and I had to close that to get back to where I could unmute. I was actually about to say that I'm going to have to leave in a couple of minutes because it's going on a couple of hours and I have to get some other stuff. But the Attendify site is coming along. I want to have it up fully and open by the middle of this month so that we can actually start pulling people into it. What I want to do now is to start pulling in the speaker bios, and I'll take the information from the sessions. And I know you have some of those bios online on one of our websites now, Adriano. Or were you
Yes,
pulling that from
yes,
the
yes.
link?
Everything is in the Congress website. So.
Okay, so I'll look through there and see if I can find the bios and start putting those in, and I'll put the schedule in as it is now, and then we can always update and make changes to it. I'll do the the maintenance there for the schedule to get that in. And again, I want to go live with the Attendify site, at the latest next week.
Good. Yes. As we said, sorry, one more thing. Congress program. Just a moment. In the program that we have online now, that's a PDF. So I am changing it each time I made a change. Now it's version 1.04 made yesterday. I have still put the old scheduling with 2 times, one for Europe, US, and one for Pacific. So the 2 sessions that we were talking about. And the symposium that's the biggest one, is still one only symposium in one only day. Let me say a rather long session, because it is from 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. That's 6 hours, a little bit
And
long.
there aren't any breaks.
Yes, yes. But what we said during our last meeting was that we are considering to make parallel, because the Attendify platform will allow for that. We can make different rooms, like in a live, in presence conference. We can make several rooms and hold parallel tracks. So we will probably go for that solution that will allow us to stay inside the 3, maximum 4 hours per day, in order not to kill our audience by
the one thing we need to keep in mind is if we're going to do parallel tracks, it's not Attendify that's actually doing those tracks. We're actually doing those via Zoom and through YouTube, which is what the people are viewing in Attendify.
Yeah.
So we need to add another Zoom, and I'll gladly use my Zoom account as the second Zoom account that we could use for another session.
Well, I think
I did get a message from Zoom about adding me to your account, and I had to decline that because what they wanted to do was cancel my Zoom account and just add me on top of your account and refund me the remaining funds from my license. And I think we're better off if we have 2 licenses and 2 accounts rather than combining my account with yours.
Yeah.
Well, I think on this side, maybe the experience made by Jim and the Gaelics Congress could help, because they had a quite sophisticated management of Zoom. Because I saw they had several entry points. I didn't understand, and I had an opportunity to ask them how does it work. But they had different entry points for each participant. I don't know if to the same session, probably. but
Basically,
maybe
what's the advantage of Attendify? What does that do that Zoom doesn't?
Well, it's still Zoom that we're using for the presentations.
Right.
Attendify is just a shell that goes around the Zoom that allows the participants to be able to interact with each other, to be able to see the conference scheduling, and to be able to see any other things that we put up for them to look at, any other videos, any changes in the schedule, all of the information about the conference,
Okay.
while at the same time being able to have a screen where they can actually see whatever session they're looking at,
Sure.
or
Okay.
just go to that one session. So
Yeah.
the Attendify is like the conference hall, like, you know, the conference center, and Zoom is just like the meeting room in the conference center.
Yeah. Okay.
however, about Zoom, I began to investigate whether it is possible to have more than one administrator, and I wasn't able to understand so far, because it seems it is possible. But then when I went to the try to create a new user, there was something that I needed and I didn't have. However, I hadn't time in that moment, so I suspended the investigation. So maybe I will just raise a ticket to them and ask if it is possible with my license or not, and what I have to do to get it. They are very kind. They are very kind, and they will answer, I'm sure.
Yeah, I got a message from Zoom and you to asking if I would be an additional administrator, which I think is what you had initiated. But I had to say no to it, because what they wanted to do was cancel the license I already had in order to put me on as an administrator on your license, and then refund me the money remaining on the license that I had already, and I didn't want to do that.
No,
so you can't
okay.
Yeah,
administrator.
you want to keep your account separate, Kevin.
Yes,
It's a total
definitely.
separate account, so you can't maybe create a different email address just for, maybe use the SRI or something like that, and then this way you can just have an admin. Yeah, you can't link to your other. Yeah.
Okay, good. Fine. What remain? Just a moment. Let me see on the chat. Oh, the sponsorship programs. Yes. So we have two things. We have Corrinne that kindly sponsored 100 euros for our Medici Fund program, and to allow some students to participate to our Congress, presenting their papers or posters or what they want. And I checked the Medici Fund situation. I found that we had other 200 and half, more or less, euros, and I put it together with the Corrinne's contribute. So we have now 340, I think, euros that we can use for this purpose, to allow students to participate to the Congress presenting their works. So this is what I understood from by Corrinne, but if it's not quite that, she will correct. But however, I am waiting for what I have to do, what I have to put online for this part, and also how we will invite the students. I mean, we don't have such a big number of email addresses of students, but maybe Corrinne had in mind some environments where she is thinking to promote this initiative. So I think we need two things, two steps I propose. First, let me know exactly what I have to put online for this program. And second, let's understand how we will promote this initiative.
Okay, so it's simple, Adriano. It's just a quick blurb, whether it may be just a sentence or two sentences that just says it's open, and social media is the best way to push that. And if we all have our individual folks that we know, just to share it. So I'll put something together and I'll share it with you, and you can post it to everyone who is on the planning committee, and we can just tweak it. It's simple. We'll just ask for either a poster session or an abstract. And, you know, if we only get 2, whatever else it is, we don't have to tell them what it is they're getting, you know, but we can say, there's a small prize or something, and whatever that is, they don't care, you know, if there's something involved. If we want to decide what the amount is, then we can say, and if it's one student, it's just one student. If it's one person that submitted, just one. That's behind the scenes sort of stuff. See,
No,
I'll take.
okay, I think we have.
I'll put that together.
Thank you so much. We have 300 and something, 340 maybe.
Right, but you don't want to give
so
someone
we can,
300. I'm just telling Adriano.
We can maybe make.
Don't need
We
to
can
give
make
away
4.
all of it.
We can make 4 prizes maybe, or 3.
Right.
Differentiating
yes.
the first, the second, and the third, and we will give the first to the what we think is the best presented work.
So that's what I'm saying, Adriana. We will wait to see how many we get in. We don't know. So we can't say we're going to have, you know, we can say we'll phrase it where if there is enough, we can give 4, we can give 3, we'll determine that, right? At this moment, we don't have any, and we don't know how many to anticipate. So we'll just say that there is, and we can make the determination at the back end what that amount is or how many winners' prizes. That's small stuff. That's not a major thing to do. Let's try and see if we can get some takers on it, and then that's where we will start to discuss, right?
Great. Okay, so this is one thing. The second thing is the Susan Jevel sponsorship. She offers 10 tickets for participating to one of her Mars training courses for free. So it's worth, I think, she says it's worth 400 euros for each. So it will be a sponsorship of 4,000 euros. But even in this case, I am waiting for the what I have to put online and how it will be promoted. So these 2 things I'm waiting, and Susan promised, and I don't know if I have to solicit her or maybe Corrinne and Kevin can coordinate with her, and we will put the thing, this thing running, because so far I don't know what to do.
Send me a draft of what you just send me. I will try and pull that together and then send it, and then whomever wants to review and add their 2 cents, we just need to confirm with Susan. Just send it. I'll work on those 2 things. Just send me over her blurb what it says, and I'll figure out what to put in there.
Yes.
So, and then, you know, Kevin, if he's available, he can take a second look after I do that, and then we can send it to the group as a collective, and then pass it on to Susan for her approval or not.
She asked me to send her our marketing kit, sponsorship marketing kit. So I had a look to the NSS, National Space Society marketing kit for the ISDC. I copied something, at least the way they present, and put something together. But I don't know if it is what is meant for a marketing kit. I'm not familiar with this kind of thing. So, but I shared it. I shared that document with her, with you, Corrinne, and with Kevin, hoping that someone will say, okay, this is what we need, or no, this is bullshit, please make another thing. I received nothing, so maybe you didn't receive that document. I don't know.
Well, I probably
I don't remember
received it.
seeing it.
I probably received it, and you send so many emails, and so whatever, it may have just gotten lost in translation. So send that, and I will look out for it. Just make sure it says that, and then I'll know that it's something I have to attend to.
And I suggest that if you're wanting to reach students who are interested in space, that the obvious organization has to be SEDS, and there's international branches. SEDS, and you can, all you need to do then is to contact the main level in each country and say, can you please send this out to your members?
Which organization is that?
So SEDS, SEDS.
Oh, yes. Yes,
Development of space.
Yes, that's true.
So there's UK SEDS who I'm about to contact about something else, and there'll be others. Yeah.
Okay. Yes, that is a great suggestion. Also, yes, excellent. Also, the SGAC is another thing like that. Yes, interesting. So, what we need here is a plan. Please, let's try to take the use to write small plans for each thing, because believe me, I cannot think about everything. I cannot. I have an infinite agenda of to do things, and it's growing quick. It's growing quicker.
Word and send it what she has to her, and let her go through it, and then I'll look at it when she sends it to me. It sounds like Corrinne already kind of laid out a plan for us.
Okay. Okay, friends, maybe we. Okay, we covered everything. Excellent.
Yeah.
So, okay, we can maybe adjourn. I just remember that this Sunday we have the webinar with Howard Bloom and Bart Womack and Giorgia Pontetti and Enrico Feoli and Alessandro Scherf. So the same people that we have the track on greening the solar system. Okay, it is on the calendar of the webinars. So if anyone who I will share the Zoom coordinates, so any one of us that want to participate is more than welcome.
Okay, I gotta run, so I'll look for the minutes and for the Zoom for this Sunday.
Great.
And I will probably see you all there.
Okay. Thank you so much. And okay, Arthur, maybe you and me have to agree on the how to go over the energy dilemma thing. If you.
Well, sure, but we're restructuring things anyway, so we'll see how that fits in. Okay.
Okay, good.
Okay, no problem.
Thank you so much, everybody.
Right, just before you go, I'm just putting 2 links in the chat about things coming up. Yes. Right, the first one is my local astronomical society. I'm talking about Yuri Gagarin. Monday night is Yuri's night, the 60th anniversary of his flight, and I have I've created a word search. Let's get in there. There we go. If I stand up, then it should no.
Now your background is taking over.
Know. Yeah, but there you go. There's the main grid. And when you find all the words that are in bold in the main text, then there are letters left over which spell out a message.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
If anyone who'd like a copy of that, jerry.stone2001@gmail.com, and that's now in the chat as well, although of course you'll have it in any of the emails. But the FAS convention next Saturday is going to include the man in charge of the Mars 2020 mission from
But it's
NASA
not-
headquarters.
It's not this Saturday, it's 17, right?
The 17th, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, as I said, next week. And we are starting off with the Astronomer Royal, Lord Martin Rees.
Okay.
So you're not going to get much better than that. And it's free. So just follow the link for
Okay.
the convention that I put in the chat. Here we go.
Okay. Thank you very much. To the
Thank
next
you,
time.
Adriano. It's been
Bye-bye.
productive.
Bye bye bye.
Grazie mille. Arrivederci.
Grazie, arrivederci.
Bye.